Ever since Mark Zuckerberg announced that Facebook was changing their name to Meta to focus on the Metaverse, there have been people buying up plots of digital land. In this video, I'm going to share with you where they're buying this digital land, who is buying this land, and what are the risks associated with buying digital land in these metaverses. I'm Byron Lazine, real estate investor and team leader. And if this video brings you any value at all, please consider hitting the thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Okay, so Wall Street Journal is reporting right now that the latest hot real estate market isn't on the scenic coast or balmy Sunbelt cities. It's the metaverse, okay? And so there's gamers flocking to these digital property sales and a number of investment firms, okay? So a number of investment firms, that's who's buying these properties. Investment firms are buying digital land in worlds such as Sandbox and Decentraland. Okay, so players simulate real-life pursuits from shopping to attending a concert. So the two big ones, as mentioned, Sandbox and Decentraland. There's upwards of at least 19 that I know of. There's probably more than 19. There was one company I read about that was buying across all verses, right? All these worlds, these new digital worlds that are being built out just to kind of be diversified because you don't know which one is going to be successful. But the two big ones you keep hearing about are Sandbox and Decentraland, okay? And if you can go to nonfungible.com and you can track all these land purchases, there's a whole bunch of NFT purchases, but you see here that Sandbox is the leader. They're calling it a project, and they've got $216 million all-time volume in the last 7 days. And they were just leading the last 7 days, actually, and that's probably to do with some of these digital land acquisitions. They've had $70 million in sales. Decentraland, $6 million, $100 million all-time. So there you go. It looks like the Bored Ape Yacht Club actually has a little bit more market volume. CryptoPunks, art blocks. Okay, that's a lot of art NFTs, but we're just talking about the digital land. So where can you buy them? The two big ones right now are Decentraland and Sandbox. Okay, now who's buying them? There are a couple of these really big investment firms that are taking the risk, which we'll talk about in a second, what the risk is, to go out and buy plots of land. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, the record from tokens.com Corp, they paid $2.5 million for land in Decentraland's fashion district. So they're building these out like a true city. In fact, their chief executive, Andrew Keigle, said that it's like buying land in Manhattan 250 years ago as the city is being built. So they bought in the fashion district or around the fashion district and in the fashion district. And they're banking on this piece of land appreciating. Now, just this past week, Republic Realm purchased in Sandbox. Get ready for $4.3 million. $4.3 million. This is now the record biggest virtual real estate sale publicized to date. And this is all, again, according to that site I showed you earlier, nonfungible.com. You can go on there and kind of playing around. And I hope this is just like opening your eyes, because I'm opening my eyes to this. Like, oh my goodness, if somebody's willing to pay $4.3 million for digital land that wouldn't pay $1 million for a farm or $2 million for a farm, there is a movement here. There is something that is going on, and I want to know about it. Now, I haven't bought any digital land. I'm far from doing that. I need to learn a whole lot more about it. So I'm hoping this video will help you if you don't have much knowledge on what's going on. Like I don't either. I'm just doing the homework and relaying the message here from what Wall Street Journal is reporting. So Republic Realm, they're trying to reduce the risk of buying land in different virtual worlds. So that's that company that I mentioned earlier. They have bought digital land across 19 worlds. Okay, so here's where we're getting into the risk. Not all 19 of those worlds are going to be successful, right? Like, think MySpace before Facebook. MySpace was popular, then it wasn't. Okay, Sandbox could be popular, and maybe it's not going to be. I'm not saying Sandbox is going to fail. I have no idea what the heck's going to happen in the Sandbox, but you may go to Sandbox one day and nobody's there. If nobody's hanging out, you're going to leave, right? If you go to a nightclub and there's no line to the nightclub, that's like an alarm, right? There's no line to this nightclub, like, and then you get in there and nobody's there, it's empty, like, you're going to want to bail out of there very quickly. You're going to be texting your friends, like, what club are you guys at? Like, where's the hot spot tonight? You're going to want to go over to the club where everybody's at, everybody's having a good time. That's what's going to happen in these worlds, in these verses, in the metaverse. There's only going to be certain worlds that win and become popular. And we're just so early on that the big risk right now is you spend millions of dollars buying digital land in the financial district of the wrong digital world. There's no doubt that people are going to spend a whole bunch of time in the metaverse. They're going to be working in the metaverse. They're going to be shopping in the metaverse. They're going to be hanging out with friends there. They're going to be walking around, these streets. They look like streets. If you go on Sandbox, you'll see the plots of land and the little streets and everything's, it's just not built out yet, right? But they will be hanging out there in the future. There's just no doubt about it. I think of it as like Sims. I used to play Sim City all the time as a kid. This is like Sim City on steroids here, right? So people will be spending time there, but you don't want to buy in the wrong metaverse. Now, these are also all built out on typically like they're built out on Ethereum network or some type of cryptocurrency is how you're going to actually purchase the land. So the other big risk is, say Ethereum's at 4,000 and you use 2 ETH to buy a piece of land, and then Ethereum goes down to $100, which could happen. Like, who knows? Like, there's so much volatility in the crypto. You're like getting the double whammy on like losing, your currency in USD is not going to drop that much, right? So now your currency has dropped that much, your land has dropped that much, and you got to wait for like everything to come back up, until you're even on what you purchased, which could be a long time. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm just saying that's the double risk. I think the bigger risk is just spending the money on something that you don't know if it's going to be popular. You don't know if that's going to be the world that takes off. Okay. So where can you buy these? The big ones right now are Sandbox and Decentraland. Who's buying? There are investment firms buying. That there are obviously retail buyers, single buyers going and buying as well. But when you see the big investment firms moving in, that gets really interesting. And the risk is that you are not going to buy in the right world. There's over 19 at least, according to Wall Street Journal right now. So hope that video was helpful, learning a little bit about what's happening with this digital real estate land grab. If it was, please consider hitting the thumbs up and subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.